Hello, drummers. Gary Williams here, your Drumset mastermind and creator of the Drumset Artistry Mastermind Group. Welcome to my Facebook Live video today. Today I'm going to talk about dynamic drumming. Now, quite literally, when I use the word dynamic, I'm talking about dynamics. And this is something that a lot of drummers eventually realize is really an important thing to add to your drumming if you want to sound truly, really professional. It's kind of like the subtlety that gets developed after you've spent some time learning how to play things aggressively, and maybe you want to learn how to play things subtly, and then ideally mix the two. So what really started to introduce me to the effectiveness of dynamics was when I first started hearing about ghost strokes. This is a term that was bantering around the drumming community many years ago. And the term really kind of implies something that's not really that obvious to hear, but you sense its presence, kind of like, ooh, maybe I feel like there's a ghost in the room. Can't really tell, but you know, if it was missing, you'd notice the absence of it. So the tune that really helped me understand about the contrast between playing really soft ghost strokes versus standard hits was the tune Babylon Sisters by Steely Dan. And the drummer was Bernard Purdie, and he's known for his classic funk shuffle, or the Purdie shuffle, as a lot of drummers call it. And I was listening to this one day, and then right at this one point, I could hear this tiny little note that was filled in between the two hi-hat shuffled rhythms. And I went, oh my God, there's ghost strokes. It was really a cool experience to finally hear it, having heard about it, but not realizing what exactly it was, audibly speaking. It just so happened to be where the stereo was turned up at the right volume, and I was at the right situation where it was like, boom, it just appeared. That was an amazing revelation for me. And then when I started playing like Fool in the Rain, you know, John Bonham, Led Zeppelin, he stole that groove from Bernard Purdie, as many drummers did. That was the other thing when I first started playing that I didn't use the filler ghost strokes. And when I say filler, I'm talking about filling in the little spaces between the right-hand shuffle rhythm to create this kind of flow. And so when I started realizing that's what was important, then I added that, then the whole groove came to life. So that was a huge thing for me, is understanding that to get the sound to be like the really professional level, you know, Top Gun players, I had to have this dynamic flexibility or skill set in my drumming. And so when I think about dynamics, there's really two categories of dynamics. There's the louds, and then there's the softs. The louds are represented by the letter F, as in forte, and if it's two Fs, it's twice that, which is very loud. MF means medium loud. Then you've got your softs, which is represented by the word piano or letter P. If you have two Ps, that's twice that, which is very soft. And then MP is medium soft. But generally speaking, I would adopt the approach that I learned from David Garibaldi, where instead of always thinking loud and soft, he refers to it as thick and thin. In other words, if the volume of the band is quite loud, then your soft isn't going to be that soft. Or if the volume of the band is kind of medium loud, then your softs will definitely be softer. So it's all relative to the overall volume of the ensemble. But he would play with tip strokes, really short little strokes, 1 to 3 inches on top of the hi-hat cymbals to create a real thin tap, tap, tap sound, and then would definitely play with the side of the stick on the edge of the cymbals to create a thicker sound. And everybody's probably experienced that. And then he would blend the two. A similar thing for that on the ride cymbal would be playing with the tip of the stick on the body of the ride versus the side of the stick on the bell of the ride, which is much more piercing. And then on the snare drum, you could actually play, of course, the tip of the stick in the middle of the drum, soft strokes for quiet volume, and then play a rim shot for your really loud sounds. So I like to incorporate in my playing all these different kind of textures or tones that's available to the drum set to produce not only different volume levels, but different sound qualities. So the drumming has a real life kind of breathing aspect. I like to think of ghost strokes as like, you can't really tell somebody's breathing. Obviously, you know they're alive, but if you came up right next to them, you could hear the breath going in and out. It's that subtle lifelikeness that ghost strokes add to the groove to make it really flow. And this is one of the big issues that my clients really lack, to be quite honest with you. And I've developed it partly because I play multiple genres, and having spent time playing a lot of jazz where I've had to play quite softly, I've developed a touch. Plus I have a master's degree in percussion. I studied orchestral excerpts and really learned how to play at a soft volume level and not just play at the Mike DeRozier level that I learned earlier in my career. So by having all this, I can show a drummer who can come in and just play something and it sounds okay, like a drum beat, but then we can make it sound like a groove, because a groove has three components. It has steady time, a change in dynamic, and a change in sound, like from a tip stroke on top, which is thinner, to an edge stroke on the side, which is thicker. So all these things will really change the way your drum grooves sound and feel, because you can't separate sound from feel. So if this is something that you'd like to learn more about, then private message me, because I've spent massive amount of time analyzing all these different grooves and can show you the ways to very easily develop your dynamic range and immediately make whatever groove you're playing sound much more professional, just by being mindful of the different ways you can strike the instrument. So get a hold of me. This is what I'm here for. Until then, stay nice to yourself, keep practicing, and then we'll get together for some more Facebook Lives and we'll talk about some more cool stuff in the drumming world. So shout out to Travis for having just joined it, and Satchel, thanks guys. And anybody else in the future, if you got questions, throw them out there and I'll try to answer them live. All right, take care, have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.